What's going on, CSM? My name is Josh Carman. I'm the student pastor here. We want to welcome you back to our third episode. Today we are talking about obstacles. What happens when life throws these things in our path that make it difficult for us to see, know, and understand the good things that God has for us. If you remember last week, we talked about pressure and the way that it can build on us. And we're looking at this whole month of August. We're focusing on this verse called Romans 8:28. In it, where Paul writes that we know that God works things together for the good of those who love him and who are called according to his purpose.
Imagine that your life is represented by riding these green machines. You can see where you're going. It's pretty easy here. You can tell that there's a lot of light. The path is very obvious about where you're supposed to go. You kind of weave in and out of these obstacles without too much trouble. In fact, really, the only thing stopping you is the pace at which you would like to go.
We've seen what it's like when life can be easy, right? When we can navigate the obstacles in front of us with not much difficulty at all. But what happens when life gets hard? What happens when obstacles, because of our own fault or otherwise, kind of obstruct our view and make it difficult for us to see the obstacles that are in our path? What do we do then?
Back to our examples of the green machines, sometimes you have to navigate your own path in life, and as you're driving down and just trying to figure it all out, you all of a sudden have to adjust for something that you didn't see coming. For many of us, this is what our life was like before COVID. Things were going pretty well. We were able to just kind of ride around and enjoy ourselves, and there were probably Cadillacs around in the photographs somewhere. But what we kind of realized was that as time was going on, things were getting a bit tougher. And in the midst of all these difficulties, we found ourselves trying to ride and navigate, and we were navigating the twists and turns of each thing that we were dealing with individually as best we could. And as we continued to navigate into the season, it felt like things got a little bit darker. It was kind of harder to see around some of those turns, and we were trying our best to really navigate well and make our way through the obstacles that were presented to us. And we could still kind of see, and we could still kind of get around them, and sometimes they would throw us off our track a little bit, but for the most part, things were kind of doable. But the longer this COVID season has gone on, the more we have found ourselves navigating further and further into darkness. And it's been like this unprecedented experience of trying to figure out how we can be joyful in the midst of all these difficult times. Sometimes we crack smiles, sometimes we're able to keep going, and sometimes we feel like there's a light at the end of the tunnel. However, it always seems like we just kind of end up back in the darkness again. And when we're finally going, sometimes we just hit a wall.
So no matter where you are in your life, maybe you feel like you're just barely holding on to control, maybe you feel like it's spinning out of control, or maybe you feel like you've just fully crashed and burned and wiped out. Doesn't matter. The idea here is that God is going to walk with you in all three seasons of those. Whether or not you just feel like you're barely hanging on, you have wiped out, or maybe you are in control. Maybe life is going pretty well for you right now. That's okay too. Right, but if Romans 8:28 talks about how God is able to move us beyond the bad, if God is able to move with us through the difficulty and into the good, what makes us think that he's not going to do it with us now in the middle of COVID? This is a unique season, right? Online everything. It's weird, it's uncomfortable, and none of us really like it. But the reality remains is that God hasn't given up on us before. He's not going to give up on us right now, and he's not going to give up on us in the future. So take a look at the questions that are about to drop through, and we'll talk about it in our breakout groups, and then we'll play some games. Thanks for watching.